Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
And I'm Dustin Jackson.
And we're live on twitch.tv/DKVine. It is July 9th, 2026, and today marks what is most universally recognized as the 45th anniversary of the original Donkey Kong arcade game.
Oh my lordy, Bigordy.
Bigordy, I think that was one of the early names for Jumpman.
It's one of his many names.
Yeah, that was their other landlord, Bigordy, and fortunately, or maybe fortunately, he was a raging anti-Semite, and so they decided to name the other landlord, they decided to name Jumpman after him. So
I think that was the better choice.
Probably. So, yeah, we are not going to go all out for this one, Dustin, this 45th anniversary of Donkey Kong, because
thank God.
Here's the thing, right? We went all out for the 40th anniversary 5 years ago. That episode was a near 4-hour affair that was absolutely filled. I mean, just filled to the brim with special appearances from both high-profile members of the Donkey Kong fan community and even creators who had contributed to Donkey Kong or the DKU throughout its then 40 years. And the truth of the matter is I can't call in those favors every 5 years. Every time there's a new Donkey Kong anniversary that goes up by 5, I can't do that. That's not sustainable. People are going to start getting annoyed with me if I reach out and I'm like, hey, Grant Kirkhope, 5 years later, can you record another bit?
It's time. Get in here.
Doesn't work. So we are resting up for the 50th anniversary in 5 years from now, 2031. God, we are going to go all out. We'll probably have a big song and dance routine to kick off the episode. I don't know.
Right, keeping it small.
Yeah, I haven't really figured it out yet because I have 5 years, let's be honest. But on this episode, I thought, given the state of the Donkey Kong series, 5 years on from the 40th anniversary, we do have some stuff to celebrate. We do have some stuff to acknowledge. And this is kind of a nice little capper on that episode from half a decade ago because we can show...
he's my favorite animal buddy.
Capper, yeah. I think that's a Mario character from Odyssey.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah, so we're going to basically just spend this episode relaxing, cracking open a cold beverage or two, and reminiscing a little bit, but also comparing the 45th to the 40th anniversary. And while Nintendo hasn't really acknowledged it at all today, they're always kind of shy, I think, about directly referencing the arcade game, given the weird legal issues that still plague that one. They always kind of puff up the NES version of Donkey Kong as kind of the de facto Donkey Kong. But,
right.
They haven't acknowledged it, but they have acknowledged it already more this year than they did 5 years ago. So I still consider that a win. But we're going to look at, how far we've come in light of Donkey Kong Bananza as a fandom, as a collective of people strewn about this planet. And we're also going to hang out with the live stream and chat a little bit about Donkey Kong and whatnot. And then this episode is just going to sort of end. Does that sound good?
I think that sounds like a good plan. I think I'm down for that.
I'm going to read some of the live stream chat, but in all honesty, I'm kind of in a bad place right now. I'm in, as I described to Dustin before we began, a spot of bother because my right contact lens has shifted upwards into my eyeball, behind my eyelid, it's stuck. I can't get it out. My eye is incredibly irritated right now, and I'm starting to be in a lot of pain. And I'm going to use that pain to motivate me. I'm going to use that pain to dredge up something deep inside of me and hopefully do a fitting 45th anniversary episode for Donkey Kong. But
well, Hyle,
yeah.
I'm glad that you did this. You did this with your contact lens because the day's not about you; it's about Donkey Kong. So you want him to have let him be in the spotlight, and you have contact lens issues today.
Yeah, let Donkey Kong have 20/20 vision even in that blinding spotlight, whereas I can't see out of one eye. I've had to take out my other contact lens just to keep things even so I don't get eye strain on top of everything else. And,
yeah, when you turn 45, Donkey Kong has to do it, though.
Or will Cranky Kong have to do it? I mean, which Donkey Kong are we talking about here?
You know what? They better just both do it.
Yeah, in the live stream, we got a full crowd there right now. I see Kremlin Cutthroat, I see Freezer, I see March Rose, I see Traveler of the Stars. I saw Courtney has joined us. Hello.
It's Night of 1,000 Stars today.
Scooter Dupes, Hibby Sloth, Flying Ragey, Porygon
all
Q,
the names you
Freezer.
love.
Yeah. Chocolate Milk Drinker. Hello. So I am in pain, but we are going to do this, Dustin. And how are you?
I think that's
by the
how
way?
we get our. I think that's how we get our best podcast. But I'm doing good. My eyes are doing pretty well. I'm sorry for you. I don't have contact lenses though.
Yeah.
Not to rub it in. But I'm doing great.
It's already rubbed in enough right now because it's starting to dry out, and I just cleared away my first traces of like eye gunk. So it's like building up the fluid, the pussy, milky substance that will hopefully eject it from my eyelid.
Save that and put it under your pillow tonight, and you never know.
The googly eyes will come visit me and put a shiny little quarter underneath my pillow.
You'll get a nice quarter you can spend on whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, all things considered, my diseased eyeball and the state of the world aside, we're in a pretty good place as a fandom right now, as connoisseurs, appreciators of all things Donkey Kong. I would say the 45th is way better vibe-wise than the 40th. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I mean, how can I not agree? We got Donkey Kong Bananza. We got the DK Challenge. We've got Donkey Kong 64 just released on NSO. Everything's looking up for Donkey Kong these days.
I forgot all about Bananza. I was specifically referring to DK Challenge.
Oh, yeah, I guess Bananza was there, too.
I forgot about that one. That was pretty good, too. Yeah.
Not bad.
5 years ago, we're still 4 years out from Donkey Kong Bonanza's release. And we knew the theme parks were coming, but I traced this back, by the way, earlier today, Dustin, before the lens slipped beneath the sheath of my eyelids, my little skin flaps that live like bats.
Back in the early time, the before times.
Yeah, they live like bats underneath my eyelashes. But I did a little reminiscing through DK Vine's news articles, and this is a great way to keep track of the minutia of how things kind of unfolded, is just look at our news articles and say, oh yeah, no, that's the order that happened. So we did the 40th anniversary episode July 9th, 2021. And for context, what was happening with Donkey Kong at that point in time? Well, publicly, not a whole hell of a lot, because we knew the theme parks were coming, but the official announcement was still over 2 months away. That didn't come until late September 2021, where Nintendo and Universal finally officially fessed up with the press release and said, yeah, we're building a Donkey Kong Country expansion to Super Nintendo World. So a lot of the theme park stuff wasn't really being believed by the wider populace. I mean, we could back it up. Everybody could like look and see that the theme park was in the works, but seeing is believing for a large percentage of the population. And
well, we did a whole Christmas card or holiday card based on the theme park. I'm glad they ended up going through with the theme park. Otherwise, that would have looked right silly.
We would have been real assholes then.
Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, so what Dustin is referring to is we had the diorama of the theme park, which mostly lines up exactly to what was actually built several years later. But we had the diorama for years, and Dustin did a holiday card, kind of a pastiche of a like Charles Dickens Christmas village, but in the context of the theme park. Well, that's the way I pitched it to you, Dustin. I said, you know, those Christmas villages that, you know, you can put on a table, a coffee table or whatnot. Do that, but with the theme park, and make sure it's populated by like 60 different characters. And then Dustin, a couple weeks later, came back to me and said, that's really hard. That's a lot of arting. And
I could get this to you by next Christmas, maybe.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, well, maybe scale it back then and just have it be winter, but the theme park. And you still put characters in there. Much appreciated.
Oh, yeah. How could I not?
But my little vision of having Tiny Kong as Tiny Tim went out the window. That's still a good card idea, though.
Oh, yeah. Gotta capitalize on that at some point.
Having Tiny Kong on the little crutches.
It writes itself.
Yeah. So I think just a lot of fans, too, or not even Donkey Kong fans, because I don't want to speak ill of the Donkey Kong fandom. Even with the glum vibes 5 years ago, I think that a lot of people were believers that good things were ahead. But, you know, doubt creeps in and you start second guessing everything when you don't have that tangible evidence that something is coming. And for an even larger percentage of just Nintendo fandom or just video game culture online, if it's not a video game, it basically doesn't exist. So even talking about the theme park, even being able to back it up with evidence, they were like, well, that doesn't mean anything. That's not a video game. It's not real.
Get that out of my face, you fool. You absolute fool.
So we got the press release, which was kind of one little bit of a pressure relief for the fandom. I remember just going, whew, when I saw that, because we could stop finally barking at the moon about the theme park. I was like, no, it's coming. And that same month, right around that same time, was the September 2021 Nintendo Direct. And that's where we got the announcement that Donkey Kong, as voiced by Seth Rogen, and Cranky Kong, voiced by Fred Armisen, were going to appear in the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie. So those were kind of the 1-2 punch to get us over the hump of this early days of this era that was just right past the end of what we term the Rare Renaissance. This kind of time frame in the mid 2010s where Rare sort of rebranded themselves and Playtonic was founded. And it felt like the legacy of the broader DKU was being re-embraced. But unfortunately, starting with Tropical Freeze, Donkey Kong went into this weird period of hibernation / false starts. And, you know, we got Donkey Kong and Skylanders, which led to the Donkey Kong Freedom Project, which fell through. And then we got Donkey Kong Adventure for the Mario Plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle game. And all of that eventually led to EPD adopting Donkey Kong, readopting Donkey Kong, and starting development on what became Donkey Kong Bananza. But yeah, that period right after the pandemic, or the first year of the pandemic, where even Rare and Playtonic were mostly going dark at that time. I mean, we got continual Sea of Thieves updates from Rare, but Platonic was really just focusing on Platonic friends, and we weren't getting any releases from them until 2025 with Yuka Replayly. So it was really this, in retrospect, long stretch of time where it was just us and some in the know people with flop sweat getting more and more pronounced, saying, good things are ahead. Trust us. No. But as far as public facing content, we were only really getting cameo games, which are as reliable as the North Star, like Donkey Kong appearing in Mario parties and sports games. And we were also getting just, I guess, the bulk of what I was talking about for a while was what Kongs would wind up in Mario Kart Tour.
We did get some. That was nice.
Although by the time of the anniversary, I think we had already gotten the biggest ones we were going to get. Like, we still had Donkey Kong Gladiator ahead, but it didn't really pan out for Cranky or anybody else in that game. Poetically, it was just announced on Wednesday of this week that Mario Kart Tour is officially shutting down on September 30th. It's reaching end of service and it will no longer be playable, which I have some feelings about that aren't necessarily relevant to this 45th anniversary of the original arcade Donkey Kong, but I might have to do an episode on that really, really soon, because
you have to show your respects.
I pay our respects, doff our caps to Mario Kart Tour, which, for all of the controversy surrounding the gacha elements of that game, which are far more pronounced at launch, and how tertiary mobile games are really revealing themselves to be. I mean, eventually Pokemon Go might shut down. Can you imagine that?
Boy, what a time that'll be. I stopped playing Pokemon Go a long time ago, but people liked it for a long time.
I stopped playing it in 2016 when I was trying to catch a Magikarp or something on my honeymoon, and I just said out loud, "What the fuck am I doing?" And I deleted it from my phone.
What happened here? How did we get where we are?
So yeah, it's a shame because Mario Kart Tour kind of was, for a small amount of time, a little beacon. Also, it's kind of a predictive thing, right? Like, are we getting any glimpses, any gleams of what is ahead with Donkey Kong now being back under EPD? Maybe we'll get our first taste of that in Mario Kart Tour, which really didn't amount to anything given the redesign of the characters and everything else. Like, they were just saving up for Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Switch too, but not so much Mario Kart Tour. But anyway, all that being said, where are we today compared to 5 years ago?
Well, we're sitting here doing a podcast right now.
Yeah, you weren't on the 40th anniversary as a co-host. That was...
yeah, how times have changed.
That was Gibbon and Jeff on that episode.
Also, you know what? Also good. I would take them over me, probably.
Courtney in a live stream says, surely they're going to add those Kongs into World any day now.
Cut to skeleton. That's a little meme for you, Hyle.
Oh, thanks. Given how sheltered I am, just continually talking about a now 45-year-old arcade game. I don't understand these concepts like memes.
Yeah, that's something called a meme.
Podcast.
It's kind of like a joke you post on the internet.
In fact, I don't even know what the conversation is. Dustin just lures me to the microphone, promised me that we're going to...
You read off this note page.
Yeah, he promises me we're going to go to the park, and then I just get sat down, and I'm like, what's happening?
We'll go after, Hyle. Just read the words.
Say these off the note card, and everything will be okay. You'll get to go to the park. We'll give you McDonald's afterwards.
And Hyle goes, "Yay!"
So yeah, holy shit. Next week, Dustin.
Oh,
we are going to be able to unlock a statue of Ellie the elephant in the new 3D Donkey Kong platformer that has been getting continual updates in its DLC and has a big summer tie-in event that we already mentioned called the DK Challenge, uniting Donkey Kong Bananza with the classic NES, Game Boy, and SNES Donkey Kong titles. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But we've also got, the theme on Alarmo that you so rudely did not want to talk about.
I had better things to do. I had bigger fish to fry.
I'll never let you live down that pre-orchestrated bit, Dustin. I'll never let you live it down so long as you live.
I get it. I understand. I did the bit I was told to do. And now I have to own up to it.
More than just Bananza, more than just this real cool game that pleased so many generations of Donkey Kong fans and has hopefully brought in some new ones. Donkey Kong itself is being held up, it's being celebrated as a full-throated Nintendo franchise again. And
those are my favorite throats.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, the throat itself is one of my favorite body parts. I hold it way above my eyeball right now.
It's at least in the top 5.
I'm okay with my throat, all things considered. My esophagus, my windpipe. We like windpipes because the great Harmonial. Right?
Right.
We love windpipes now. Windpipes RDKU. So
that's the best windpipe I've ever seen.
It's my third favorite windpipe I've ever been down.
Awesome.
No, but Donkey Kong is being respected again. And I think more casual Nintendo fans view Donkey Kong as an actual series again, as compared to how it has been for the longest time, especially post-Rare buyout, where they viewed it as just this aspect of Super Mario. And you can even see a big difference between when Bananza was revealed in April 2025 and now, whereas so many people just viewed it as this kind of vaguely Super Mario release, and now it's kind of being viewed as, a Donkey Kong game, because Donkey Kong gets games, because Donkey Kong is a brand, Donkey Kong is an IP, and it's nice. It's a nice feeling. I've said before that the only time in my life as a Donkey Kong fan that I can remember this was the 1990s.
Yeah, it's just nice to see that Donkey Kong gets to sit at the big kids table instead of being Mario's guest. It's nice.
Yeah, at the very least, he's at an equally nice table that's also in the kitchen rather than eating in the cellar.
You stay down there with the Wario Land fans.
His bucket of fish bones that he just has to lick to get nutrients off.
I don't think he would hate it that much. I could see him licking a fishbone and going, okay.
I mean, we know Donkey Kong has fished in his life. We've seen it. We've done it. So I'm sure he's partaken in the...
He likes the bones especially.
He loves the bones. The bones can be vaguely banana-shaped if they curve just right.
Yeah, they trick him.
So... we even see that in the Nintendo Today theme, which we actually haven't dedicated an episode to on the Kongversation yet. We haven't just sat back and talked about the Nintendo Today theme for Donkey Kong, the Donkey Kong series. Because while it's mostly created with Donkey Kong Bananza assets, characters that appear in Bananza, and they get those characters to do things that they don't do in Bananza, like the crowd of cheering critters. Although I guess that's kind of taken from New Donk City. We just don't get to see it as clear as we do on the app. But
still very cool.
Yeah, we've got Diddy doing the roll and swing on the vine and hop off the critter's head, and Donkey Kong riding Rambi and busting through crates, and it's all really cool. And of course, they've got more just direct Bananza references in there as well. But you also get incorporations of characters and elements that don't even appear in Bananza, aside from Mamie as statues via the Emerald Rush events, like the Snowmads, Tiki Tong, and Funky Kong make appearances in special animations.
Yeah, I like that it celebrates various things from Donkey Kong instead of just the most recent game.
It's nice because that is kind of what Donkey Kong has lived with, at least since 2010. It's just the most recent Donkey Kong game is just what Donkey Kong is until the next Donkey Kong game. And you don't really get that full embrace of the entire history of the series like you might see with Mario or Zelda. For a good example of how it used to be for Donkey Kong, look at how Nintendo is treating Star Fox at the moment, where everything to do with Star Fox really is just the new Star Fox game for Switch 2.
Yeah, I mean, part of it has to do with it being another 64 remake. I guess you can't come out and say, like, oh, here's Crystal on the Star Fox app. Here's
I know.
Here's the Tricky plush we're putting out in stores.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is that is the way it used to be for Donkey Kong. And regardless of the sort of background behind the new Star Fox game, I look at all of the promotion for it, or just the greater Star Fox brand, if you will, right now. And I'm like, yeah, that was how it felt for the longest time as a Donkey Kong fan. But we're not really getting that. And a big part of that is Donkey Kong is under the auspices of EPD, which is where, you know, most of the Nintendo stuff comes from. So you can do stuff like just slide them into Alarmo now, and it's very easy peasy, and they don't have to go through all the extra steps of dealing with an outside studio.
Right. It really worked out in that way.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I was hoping for.
Lots of other ways, too.
Yeah, lots of other ways, too.
Sure.
But when I first learned that EPD had taken in Donkey Kong, I mean, this is what I kind of fantasized would happen, is maybe we will get not only more cohesion with just the Donkey Kong IP, but we'll also start seeing stuff celebrated a lot more vigorously than it has in the past. And they've exceeded my expectations, because I did not expect them to just be sliding in the Tiki Tak Tribe and the Snowmads, even when they don't have a role to play in Bananza.
Yeah, for sure. I love that these statues we get are it's able to celebrate the history of Donkey Kong.
Yeah. And so I'm just checking in with the live stream, and I thought Traveler of the Stars was saying the stream was unlistenable, but they were just talking about me maybe superimposing it like Donkey Kong Land 2's Lockjaw's Saga.
Hey, it's not too late. We could still do that.
I'll never live that down.
I thought it was a good bit.
I thought it was brilliant, but apparently I'm just on a whole different wavelength from people with ears.
It was sheer brilliance, the peak of podcasting.
Yeah, as I've already established, I don't even know what a podcast is. I'm just an old dementia-riddled man.
That's true, you don't know no better. How are you supposed to know people didn't want to hear that for the whole episode?
I just want to go to the park and feed the pigeons.
I just want to get this over with.
So, meanwhile, in this continual afterglow of Bananza, because we are still kind of living Donkey Kong Bananza, not just because it's a really good game that won over even the most skeptical fans, but we're getting these monthly Emerald Rush events. We're getting all of this fan service 1 month at a time. And we're still waiting on the official announcement of the Donkey Kong movie, spinning out of the Super Mario Brothers movie with Seth Rogen and Fred Armisen, and likely the next Donkey Kong game, be it a 2D platformer or a racing game or a special surprise little treat that nobody could have seen coming. That will probably be happening relatively soon. When I say relatively soon, I'm saying like sooner than 5 years from now for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's like immediately going to happen, but you know, less time between Donkey Kong games than we have had.
Definitely, we are a lot less flop sweaty now than we were 5 years ago, where we can just say, yeah, the next game will be announced relatively soon. Cool.
My flop is completely dry.
That's good. I didn't measure it like I usually like to do before you walk in.
Yeah, thank you.
I hold a
next time.
I'll hold a little measuring cup underneath Dustin, and I just make him stand there for a few minutes to see how much moisture I can procure.
I can make a lot, though, you got to admit.
You can. You're a wet boy.
Thank you.
So this is the 45th anniversary of Donkey Kong, the original 1981 Donkey Kong Sr. led, well, I guess Jumpman led, fucking Mario led Donkey Kong, with Donkey Kong Sr. as the actual antagonist, who we know better today as Cranky Kong. So everything is good with the greater Donkey Kong brand, and we're really optimistic about the future. But I want to talk a little bit, too, what has changed with this anniversary vis-a-vis the arcade game and its relationship with the wider series. Because I want to make the argument, and I think you'll agree with me, Dustin, that the arcade era, specifically that first arcade game from 1981, has been harmonized with the rest of the series, specifically Donkey Kong Country onward, in a way that it never really was prior to Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Oh, for sure. I think it's so awesome that just every era of Donkey Kong gets to just be what it is instead of feeling so segmented from one another. Like,
and when
you would get occasional arcade references and visuals in the country games and the retro games, but there always was that disconnect between the two, and I'm glad there really isn't now.
I was always kind of afraid of them mixing them up a bit too much, because when DK Vine was founded in 1999, it really did feel like two distinct series. It didn't really feel like, oh, Donkey Kong is just one big thing. There was the arcade series, and then there was the Donkey Kong Country series. And this divide was also reinforced during that era because there really were two parallel Donkey Kong series brands. There was Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, Donkey Kong 94, which came out a few months before Donkey Kong Country was launched. Mm-hmm. And then, like, that art direction for Senior and Junior carried forward into various things like the Game & Watch series, or the little cameo in like Mario Clash and Junior's appearance in Mario's Tennis for the Virtual Boy, you know? So,
who could forget?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to ever let you forget the Virtual Boy games, but if I don't resolve this eye issue, I'll never see the brilliant 3D of the Virtual Boy ever again.
Right, so everyone send your donations in now for Hyle.
A lot is on the line right now. I have this nice, lavish $100 Virtual Boy facsimile for the Switch family of consoles right next to me on my desk, taking up a significant amount of workspace that I could devote to DK Viney, but instead it's just where my Virtual Boy shell lives for my Switch and Switch 2. So I've got to make it worth my while. I have to get this contact lens out.
It's the only way, and you know what, Hyle? Maybe now's not the best time to say it. Virtual Boy Wario Land is very good.
Very good, it is. And there's a lot of that game that went into Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
It's very influential, quietly so, but influential nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once we hit the buyout era, definitely, like, there was an attempt to kind of return a little bit to the purity of Miyamoto's vision for Donkey Kong, but it was never really done in a way that meshed with what Nintendo and other studios were also doing with Donkey Kong. So
Right.
there's always been this divide, even with the retro era, where they did reference the arcade games a little bit more, but it was like in the temple iconography, you would get like the 8-bit representations of Donkey Kong on girders.
Just cute
and
little
barrels.
Easter egg stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. And even by that point, they didn't really have Cranky referencing that the fact that he was supposed to be the original Donkey Kong. So it just felt kind of confused, right?
Right. The whole series, like, even long before the retro games, like, when Mario versus Donkey Kong came out, it's like, well, what Donkey Kong is this exactly?
Yeah.
Like, he's a hero, but also now he's stealing toys.
Now he's a little shit.
Now he's bearing those huge fucking teeth at me like a monster would.
Yeah, that's also another aspect, yeah, where they tried to recreate sort of the visuals of the arcade Donkey Kong grinning his teeth, but they tried to do it with Rare's Donkey Kong design.
Yeah, it don't really work, do it?
Didn't know worked so good. Nope.
Eloquently said.
Thank you. I am a poet. But I look at the Donkey Kong series now, and don't get me wrong, the iconography is still Donkey Kong Country. The imagery of the like primary branding on merchandise, on the upcoming Jakks Pacific toys that we're about to get, that's still very much Donkey Kong Country. You got the Retro Studios jungle. What they're releasing is like a 2.5-inch minecart playset with your little Donkey Kong rolling down in a minecart. It's taken right from Donkey Kong Country Returns. You've got
hours of fun.
You've got a diorama playset of Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Rambi, and a palm tree.
All the stars.
I love the palm tree though, Dustin. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited to get that palm tree because if I get enough of them, I can build the Congo jungle.
This is just step one.
Yeah, it's like $20 to get this one palm tree and also this shitty little Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and Rambi that I don't care about.
But just think of the jungle you can make. All you have to do is buy lots and lots of these.
Eventually, I can create an entire Donkey Kong Island, given enough perseverance.
It's real. It's finally real.
So, even though like Donkey Kong Country is the primary visual aesthetic of the series and what is really marketed from the series, they have done a good job of pulling up the arcade era and giving it, I think, greater context for the series. Yeah. Now, it's still being treated as something a little bit more removed from everything else. It's still being treated as kind of like this relic from the past. Look at Bananza and how it treated like the fossils from the arcade games versus everything else. You get like this 8-bit sprite representation of the barrels or ladies' accoutrements or even the 8-bit DK fossil that is being displayed on this episode's artwork.
Mm-hmm. I also think about the broken arcade machines on Ingot Isle.
Yeah, they're all like covered in poop.
Yeah, they're covered in poop, just like everything is from back then.
Yeah, in retrospect, the 80s, just people be pooping all over.
Yeah, they really nailed it.
Yeah. But I would say that it's been incorporated into the mythology in more profound ways than we got from 1994 on, where the most you would see would be cheeky, even disparaging nods via Cranky Kong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
However, the cheeky nods from Cranky Kong are back for the first time, aside from maybe vague possibilities in things like Smash Brothers games, because Cranky actually directly references being the original Donkey Kong again in Bananza.
Yeah, I never thought we'd get Cranky. Like, we're at full Cranky levels again, which is very nice.
Yeah, he's referencing being DK Sr. He's making little shitty comments about Mario without saying his name. He is actually complaining about stuff, and he's also breaking the fourth wall and, acknowledging that he is in a video game.
Yeah, that's the part I think is wild bringing back. Like, yeah. I thought, eventually someone will come in and can make Cranky a real dickhead again, but I never thought we'd have Cranky, like, acknowledging he's in a video game and breaking the fourth wall again.
Dustin sits on Santa's lap in the mall. What do you want, little boy? Well, I just want Cranky to be a real dickhead again. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you've been a good little boy.
No, Santa, you don't understand. I want this fictional video game ape, this elderly gorilla, to be a real piece of shit.
Just a real piece of work. And he made it happen.
They made it happen. And I mean, no disrespect to Cranky in any of his appearances from 2003 to 2025. But I mean, this is just Cranky the way God intended. This is just, the best written Cranky we've had probably since Donkey Kong Country 2.
Yeah, zero complaints about how they write Cranky. Those were some dire times in the 2000s, where he was just kind of the generic wise old man.
I love the Pay-On games, and I do not want to speak ill of the Pay-On games, but
yeah, of course.
If I had one legitimate complaint about the Pay-On games, it's Cranky's dialogue.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like the character at all.
No. So, beyond Cranky, though, Bananza really struck this healthy balance of how to celebrate the arcade era and elevate it without taking away from the 30-some years of history after the arcade era. Mario is still kept at arm's length.
Yeah.
We get some elements of Mario in Bananza where Cranky refers to his rival in overalls. And of course, then recently we've gotten the Super Mario Brothers 40th anniversary collaboration with Emerald Rush, which all that amounts to is we get this hybrid music playing when this collaboration is live across this summer. And then,
plus, it's also just a special event. It's not like it's not like you're playing Donkey Kong Bonanza and you're beating up a bunch of Shy Guys and Koopas and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's Donkey Kong and Pauline in costumes, and then you've got some reskins throughout the Emerald Rush mode. But Mario is never name dropped. Mario is never just said, like, in any dialogue, he's never acknowledged as this thing. And so, like, the spotlight never is taken off of the Donkey Kong series or the Donkey Kong cast, which is the right thing. Like, obviously, there's that shared heritage that stems from Donkey Kong 81. I mean, Donkey Kong 81 is the genesis of Mario and Donkey Kong and everything that has then spun out of those franchises. You can make the case that Donkey Kong 81 is the genesis of the Yoshi series, the Wario series, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker. I mean, if you really wanted to get nuts with it, Dustin.
Right, you technically could say whatever you wanted. DK 81 led to Breaking Bad, let's say.
Words are all just made up anyway. Language is a construct. I could just be saying blah, 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 and it doesn't mean anything, but I could ascribe meaning to that.
Right. Yeah, and we would have no choice but to believe you, because here you are with the podcast.
Reality is fluid these days anyway, so why not just create our own?
Exactly.
One thing I really like, and I didn't think I was going to like this. This is something that I had to warm up on. And I haven't really talked about it a whole lot since I did that big, exhausting, near 8-hour episode with Courtney last year about the end of the primary story in Bananza, the main game in Bananza. And that's New Donk City, Dustin. And New Donk City... Of course, I've always kind of been a little chafed with New Donk City, just because, being the Donkey Kong purist that I am, I'm the one who comes along and says, actually, the location of the 1981 arcade game was established to be Big Ape City in 1995's Donkey Kong Land. And, of course, that was a play on Big City from Donkey Kong 94. And then, what are you doing with Odyssey? What are you doing with this New Donk City shit?
You just can't come in and completely flip over everything I've believed my whole life.
Right. Like, we have a perfectly fine chess match going on, and you just come along and upset the board because you didn't like the way the game was being played, Nintendo?
How am I supposed to connect Conker to this?
Yeah, I remember E3 2017 when I was out there with Cameron and I walked through the New Donk City kind of set that Nintendo had for their like E3 show floor, and
that's awesome.
They had to break out the New Donk City fainting couch for me because I walked through it and I said, "Oh, but what about Conker?" And I just
what's
collapsed.
To be done of Conker?
Willow Woods and the Panther Kingdom. Where do they exist in relation to this?
It was tough times.
It was. The New Donker cast members, the people wearing the like suits and fancy business dresses, they had to come along and resuscitate me many the time.
I'm just picturing one of them. One of them's carrying you in his arms, and a tear in his eye, and he lifts up his costume to reveal his "Grab by the Ghoulies" t-shirt.
We're always here when you least expect us. Don't worry.
We're right here with you.
No, but I have grown to appreciate New Donk City. Maybe not so much for the continuity hurdle that it presents. I have come around to accept that New Donk City is where the arcade game happened.
Oh, that's a big step.
That is a big step. It's showing growth on my part. And look, this is all made up anyway, so who fucking cares?
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? This is dumb shit for babies.
But it's really our fault for caring.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 30 some years of my life wasted. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
No, but I'm not going to get too into this because I can do a whole video about this, Dustin, and maybe I will. But I view Big Ape City and New Donk City as separate cities now. And
gotcha.
I view Big Ape City, despite the intention of Rare and the DKL team and what was implied in the instruction manual, I think it's easier to say Big Ape City is a separate city. It's a Kong-controlled city somewhere off the coast of DK Islands, which you kind of have to except given Donkey Konga 2 shows a city in the background, and most of the game takes place in that city, but it's clearly like a Kong-controlled city. There are no humans in this city. And
if you consider Donkey Konga 2, you have to accept it.
And the thing is, has any person out there really considered Donkey Konga 2? I mean, really considered Donkey Konga 2. Not just for this.
I couldn't. Just in general?
Just in general, yeah.
I couldn't tell you a single person who's thought about it for more than a little bit.
Except for me. I've lived in anguish over Donkey Konga 2, probably more than even the people who made it.
Yeah, even they were like, come on, it's just a video game, man.
Ow, this fucking contact lens.
Oh,
God.
I'm sorry, Hyle.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was reading the live stream chat and I had to strain my eyes, and then the pain set in. And, yeah, like people are arguing in the live stream now. I've set off a firestorm about Big Ape City. Is Big Ape City just another name for New Donk City, like Gotham is for New York? And I'm like, well, in the DC universe, there is a New York City, and there's a Gotham City, and they're actually separate cities.
See, personally, I really like the idea that it was once called Big Ape City, but then over time it was renamed to New Donk City to kind of celebrate the Kongs over time. I just think it's a cute idea, but I guess I can go either way. I'm not like married to it or nothing.
It's even more confusing because of Mario Kart Tour and then the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, where you have the New York City track also being Donkey Kong themed.
Yeah.
So, I think Nintendo has never really settled on where the city is. I think at certain points Miyamoto has said that's New York City. And then, of course, then they just kept it vague in Donkey Kong 94, Big City. And then Rare said, Big Ape City, because it's a pun on the Big Apple. What if it was the Big Apple? No, that doesn't work. Let's just call it Big Ape City. And then, of course,
that's genius.
And then Super Mario Odyssey came along, and they said, okay, New Donk City, and it's nicknamed the Big Banana, which doesn't work with the Big Apple pun of Big Ape City. I digress, though. Why am I okay with this if it creates this much consternation, if it creates this much strife in my own brain, let alone the live stream chat? It's because it creates a neutral setting between the Mario series and the Donkey Kong series, and both can use it. And it's kind of just this shared ground. It's where they can both come together. And that is where the crossover can happen, even if it's still games apart from each other. So like Mario can romp around it in his big 3D platformer for the Switch. And then Donkey Kong and the young Pauline can visit it in Bananza, but there's no Mario in sight there. So I like it as sort of this shared set piece between the two franchises that have both spawned from this one arcade game from 1981.
This is where the two circles on the graph intersect.
Yes. And I think that, like, there's obviously a lot of, like, fan theories about New Donk City, and I think Bananza does leave a little wiggle room for Big Ape City to also exist, but ultimately it doesn't matter, right?
There's more than one city in the world, I think.
There's more than one ape-themed city in the world. Yeah, I mean, come on. So I like New Donk City. I've come around on New Donk City, and I think as a set piece for the finale, or at least the grand finale, the climax of Donkey Kong Bonanza, because the end of the game takes place in the windpipe, right?
That's the best part.
And then, of course, when you factor in Emerald Rush, the end of the game kind of takes place on Donkey Kong Island, but New Donk City, it really works for the end of Bananza because it's the setting that most players will be familiar with thanks to Odyssey. As much as I love Donkey Kong Land, I'll just be frank, more people have played Super Mario Odyssey. It hurts to say, but I accept it. I know when I've invested.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think if let's say there was a video game bracket and it came down to the big final showdown was Mario Odyssey versus Donkey Kong Land, I think I would have to make a tough decision.
Yeah, although then I reveal to the people who've never played Donkey Kong Land, it's got flying pigs in it, and then that might change their mind.
Yeah, that might be enough to sway the vote.
I like that K. Rool does a full-on Ghostbusters in New Donk City. I think it's a great way of taking this very familiar setting that was made iconic in this big Mario game and really letting the Donkey Kong series run wild over it. And I don't think that ending would have been nearly as effective if they just went to some other city or they didn't use that as a location, you know. It works. And
no, it's wonderful. I love everything about the climax of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like I already love New Donk City. I love Mario Odyssey, but to bring it back and then say, no, now we're going to plaster King K. Rool over all of the most iconic stage in this wonderful popular game.
It's not even just about Odyssey, though. It's about this is the location of the 1981 original arcade game. And here's King K. Rool back with the power of the gods, turning him into this nightmarish entity, drowning the citizens of this major metropolis in like rotten banana mush. And it's just what we've said before, and so many people have said this, not just us, that the end of Bananza feels like Donkey Kong fan fiction.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
But in the best possible way, because it's just not the kind of thing you would ever expect to see in a Donkey Kong game, unless that Donkey Kong game was developed by hardcore Donkey Kong nerds.
Yeah, like, you know, bringing back K. Rool already felt like a massive victory for the Donkey Kong fan base. To then say, no, but look at New Donk City now with all these K. Rools everywhere and all these messages celebrating King K. Rool, and it leads up to his fucking boxing ring. It's wild. I never would have... You couldn't have paid me to think they would do this.
Yeah. Dustin wouldn't have no money right now.
Yeah, I would be so fucked.
Yeah, and I think that's the moment it all kind of clicked for me. Having this marriage of the arcade era, like the setting of the arcade era, and the primary antagonist of the Rare era converge. Like, we fought King K. Rool in Big Ape City and Donkey Kong Land when we thought Big Ape City was the setting of the 1981 game. But let's, again, be honest, I hate to compare Donkey Kong Land unfavorably with a more recent, bigger budget title. But the battle with K. Rool and Bananza was a lot more impactful than the battle with K. Rool and Donkey Kong Land. I mean, to be fair to Donkey Kong Land, you knocked him off a blimp, and then the game said congratulations with a period. So
that's pretty good.
I mean, that's really, really close. A close number 2 to what Bananza did, but...
Courtney in the chat brings up a good point. He was very small in that game.
He was very small. He didn't have the power of the Banandium roots bigging him up.
He was having an off day.
Yeah. Sometimes you need the juice. Sometimes you need the human growth hormone, or in this case, this biblically accurate angel turning you into this monstrous demigod.
Hyle, have you seen K. Rool in that game? He's so big.
Pretty big, yeah. Terminally Online says, they're both portable DK games, Hyle. I think the comparison's perfectly fair. All right, well, now I don't feel so bad about bringing up Donkey Kong Land so much in this episode designed to celebrate the 1981 arcade game.
Yeah, it's like 10% the rest of the franchise, 90% Donkey Kong Land.
I'm sorry, but it's the weirdest thing. I'm going to talk about Donkey Kong Land and Donkey Kong Country 3 the most for some reason. It's like, oh yeah, Donkey Kong. And inevitably I start talking about Hogwash the Flying Pig, Nemo, the Nautilus. I'm going to start talking about Chimpanzee Clouds, and I'm going to start talking about the Brothers Bear.
You know, Hyle, just the other day I was watching a video. Someone on YouTube was just going through old Rare era renders for the Donkey Kong series. And those Donkey Kong Land renders are pretty crunchy, but in a way I found extremely nostalgic.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's one of those things where you can't explain your attraction to them. It's like,
yeah like if someone doesn't like them, if someone says, oh, what the fuck am I looking at? It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand.
It's like conventionally they're not beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But they're just something about their personality where you know they would be animals in bed.
Yeah, you know what? It's a little something called inner beauty. Maybe look into it sometime.
They're just this charisma, this magnetism, and I'm just drawn to it. And I look at that rambunctious render and I'm getting all hot under the collar, and then I'm perspiring into a measuring cup as much as Dustin, and I'm just drenched completely head to toe.
Hyle, we're gonna win the wettest boys competition this year.
That's my goal. I mean, this summer in particular is very, very hot, and so, you know, I'm naturally dewy on my best days. I'm just a very hydrated little man, and I'm also moist in a lot of areas given my frequent states of arousal. So Donkey Kong Land gets me going. What can I say?
Hey, you know what? Let he who has never been aroused by the renders of Donkey Kong Land cast the first stone, huh?
Happy birthday, Cranky Kong!
Yay!
You know he's loving this. If he was real and he was listening to this, he would be having a great time right now.
He wouldn't be pissed off at all.
No, he would not. So, also, can I just talk about the young Pauline from Bananza?
Of course, Hyle.
I know everyone has different interpretations about her identity and how it all fits and what it all means vis-a-vis the adult Pauline, Mayor Pauline's appearances in Mario games and Mario versus Donkey Kong games. I'm not getting into that, all right? Because I don't want to start another little spat in a live stream. I already stepped in it when I brought up New Donk City and I said it wasn't Big Hit City. So everybody wins. Everybody gets to hang on to your interpretation throughout this episode. Don't worry. But I will say, okay, at the very least, she's clearly supposed to be the granddaughter of the arcade Pauline lady, right?
Yeah, I do really like that interpretation. I like that Bananza takes the what happened in the arcade original Donkey Kong game,
yeah,
and it kind of makes it into like a mythical event, just an important thing that happened in the past. We're not gonna dwell on it, but it's when this happened is now just an event to look back on and be like, oh yeah, that was a wild landmark in Donkey Kong history.
They purposely keep it hazy. And, you know, yeah, Cranky alludes to it, and then you get to New Donk City and you see various traces of this event, yes, but, you know, they don't really get too deep into it. But what I like about the young Pauline is it continues the themes of generational legacy that the Donkey Kong Country series really, really leaned into. I mean, the Donkey Kong Country series, especially the original trilogy, was all about kind of generational conflict, or the generations not understanding each other, and sort of the passing of the torch and legacy. You had Donkey Kong, the modern Donkey Kong, and I'm not going to get into the argument about whether or not he's the adult Donkey Kong Jr. because I don't want to start another argument. But he is the descendant of the arcade Donkey Kong, i.e. Cranky Kong, and you have him sort of taking the mantle, really, from Cranky. And Cranky's not that happy about it, but then he proves himself. And then you have his protege, Diddy Kong, and then Dixie Kong, kind of like the next generation of Kongs. And sort of the interplay between boomers, Gen X, and millennials from the 90s perspective.
Yeah, I do like that. I like the passing the torch.
So then you've got the young Pauline, which kind of does the same thing from this different aspect carrying on from the arcade era. And it even helps heal then the original sin of the Kongs, the abduction of arcade Pauline, of Lady from DK Sr. It mends the rift between the Pauline family, whatever surname they use, and the Kongs. And it does that by having the modern Donkey Kong take on the young Pauline as a surrogate daughter, which is brilliant.
I love it.
I mean, it's the kind of thing that, I mean, when we talked about what Vicarious Visions was thinking about doing with Donkey Kong, when they briefly were going to do a 3D Donkey Kong game, one of the ideas they had, which we talked about, and I said, this would be quite controversial, I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, was bringing in Pauline as a semi-playable character. And at the time, that was just adult Pauline, as you saw her in like the Mario versus Donkey Kong games, because she hadn't really been making regular appearances outside of that series at that point in time. But I was like, yeah, I think that would really rub the country fans the wrong way, or it would just feel like, why are you using her instead of Dixie or one of the like closer to home characters?
Right, I get that for sure.
But by having it be a young Pauline, some younger incarnation, be it like the granddaughter of the arcade Pauline, and is that arcade Pauline Mayor Pauline, or is Mayor Pauline this Pauline, or is Mayor Pauline this Pauline's mom? Doesn't matter. Because what we got with young Pauline was kind of the Donkey Kong series own stake in the character, or our own version of the character.
Yeah, exactly. Like the same character, at least by name, no official connection to the other Pauline's been given right now. It basically makes her a new-ish character for this series. Right.
So just the same way that like Cranky Kong sort of reinterpreted DK Sr., this young Pauline is kind of the Donkey Kong series way of incorporating that arcade heritage in a different way than the Mario series incorporates that arcade heritage via their Pauline, So
yeah, exactly.
I'm really won over by this. And this is another thing I didn't think I was going to like. When that leak happened, Nintendo Korea accidentally uploaded the wrong art asset. I was like, I don't know. But ultimately, yeah, like the story the game told endeared me to this Pauline, and the relationship she developed with Donkey Kong was so sweet, was so wholesome. I mean, I'm a softie at heart, Dustin. I'm not made of stone. I'm not.
I know you're gooping all over.
Did you say I was pooping all over?
I said you were gooping.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, yeah, I was born in the 80s, but I'm not of the 80s, Dustin. I don't poop all over the place.
Right. Which, as established.
So I am younger than the original arcade game, by the way, just for the record.
I am too, by like a lot.
I would imagine most people listening to this are younger than the arcade game. No offense to anybody who is actually older than the arcade game.
Yeah. Oh, of course not. We don't want to be ageist here. Donkey Kong's for everybody.
It is. It's for well, not maybe little kids. Little kids would hate this show, and they should. They shouldn't listen.
Yeah. They should not be listening to us.
We talk about things like moistness. You don't want to hear that when you're a child.
Ew.
But yes, I really love the way that not only have like Nintendo brought in this young Pauline for the Donkey Kong series to play with, but they've also kind of then resolved that original antagonism that the Kong family, I guess, were forged in. Donkey Kong Sr. started off as a villain, and it immediately got nebulous with the sequel, with Donkey Kong Jr., where all of a sudden you were playing as Sr.'s son, trying to rescue him from the clutches of Mario.
Maybe things aren't so black and white.
Shades of gray, Dustin. That's what we operate in. But so I'm not saying it was Rare who made Donkey Kong an inarguably heroic figure, because you can make the case Miyamoto got that started with Donkey Kong Jr. Miyamoto already started getting soft on his creation and started saying, oh, maybe they're not so bad after all.
Right, they're just gorillas.
Yeah. But there has always been that kind of pull, that back and forth between hero and villain. What is Donkey Kong? Especially because Nintendo's flagship mascot became Mario. So there was always this kind of uncomfortable, unspoken idea that Nintendo could revert Donkey Kong back to his villainous ways. And that really, came into play with the buyout, I would say, where you had this tonal tug of war about what the series was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I had played the arcade Donkey Kong as a kid. I had played it in arcades, but it is the Donkey Kong Country version of Donkey Kong that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
I don't like Donkey Kong being a villain. I don't like Mario versus Donkey Kong. You know what, Hyle? I've said it before. If you make a game called Mario versus Donkey Kong, don't force me to be on the Mario side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like where I did the walkthrough for the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake on the Switch, and my walkthrough was just killing Mario as fast as I could.
There, problem solved.
I won! Donkey Kong wins!
There you go, my liege.
And look, DK Vine, we've obviously been a big proponent of the country era onward. The site started in 1999 because a little game called Donkey Kong 64 was coming out. I fell in love with Donkey Kong Country, even though I played, the NES Donkey Kongs. I knew of the heritage of the series. But I no longer feel like there is this big divide or this big junction between the arcade era and everything that started in 1994 onward. That buyout era tug of war is no longer in effect. And I think Bananza really helped put that to bed, hopefully forever. Where,
for sure.
Even the color of life in Bananza, the color of the Bananergy, the blue and pink, cyan and magenta colors of Bananergy that is Bananza's primary color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Bananza even found a way to connect that back to the colors of the Kremlin source in Donkey Kong Country 2. And say, no, it's all connected. It's just the color of life on the planet.
Yeah, I love that. I especially love, talking about Nintendo not being able to decide whether DK is a hero or a villain for the longest time. I like that what they're going for with Donkey Kong here in Bananza I think even more so than Rare's DK, I could never see this Donkey Kong being a villainous character. To me, this seems like them putting their foot down and saying, this is who Donkey Kong is. Donkey Kong is a heroic goofball. I couldn't see him stealing toys. I couldn't see him kidnapping people. You kidding me with how nice and friendly this guy is?
The Regal theorem of Donkey Kong, that was developed by DK Vinestaffer, Cameron Regal, was that it was impossible to make Donkey Kong look like a villain whenever he was paired with Diddy Kong, because Donkey Kong was the role model that Diddy looked up to. And given the nature of Diddy's character, that role model wouldn't be a real piece of shit.
Right, you don't want him looking up to just an asshole stealing stuff.
Right, like Diddy is not the kind of monkey to be taken in by the manosphere, by these toxic male influencers. Diddy has a good heart, and Diddy only follows those with good hearts. And so you only ever saw Donkey Kong kind of be the toothy grin jackass, as we coined him back in the day, whenever Diddy wasn't around. So
right,
I would say the young Pauline also has that same effect. And maybe even more so, given there is that very sweet, like, father-daughter aspect to their relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree on both counts, but I think even if it was just DK on his own, like no Pauline, no Diddy, I would still look at this DK and say, like, this guy's a good guy. Look at his big goofy grin he's doing.
The redesign really helps, and it's ironic that the redesign partially reincorporates a lot of the arcade era elements of Miyamoto's, like, 1994 design, at least. Blends it with the Kev Bayless design a little bit more. But he's so much sweeter looking. I don't know. Like, yeah, the edges are softened, but it's still recognizably our Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country. But you can't really make this Donkey Kong, as you said before, Dustin, break bad. See, it's all connected.
Yeah, oh, I did see that. You're right.
And, like, look, let's be honest about something that the Donkey Kong Country games and Rare's tenure with the series probably handled poorly. And it was the 1990s, and this kind of poking your thumb in the eye of authority or what came before was just in vogue during that time. Right. But it was kind of a dick move that the Donkey Kong Country series wrote off the arcade era as hard as it did. And as like dismissive as it was, like the original Donkey Kong Country game opens up with the girders and Cranky, now this old man, like cranking a gramophone, playing the original arcade music. For one thing, 1981, nobody was using a gramophone in 1981. Like, Cranky should have a Walkman at the very least. I don't know. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe he would have a vinyl player still, but like saying, "Oh, move over, granddad. This is a new Donkey Kong for a new era. Get fucked.
Get that bullshit out of here."
It's kind of weird, right? Like
it's definitely like imagine if someone else came along and did that to the DKC stuff. Like as soon as the buyout happens. Imagine if our modern Donkey Kong is listening to his compact disc player, and then Jungle Beat Donkey Kong comes in and shoots our Donkey Kong in the head and takes over.
We just keep this going. Like Bananza could have opened with the retro era Donkey Kong listening to his iPod. And here comes Bananza Donkey Kong, and he tases him and just like
he hits him with the truck,
pisses all over him. Yeah. It's really weird to me, especially now that I am in my early 40s, to look back and recognize the original arcade game was 13 years before Donkey Kong Country.
That's wild when you think about it.
So
Only 13 years?
Only 13 years. So what the hell? What the hell? They probably should have done that. And granted, I love the character of Cranky Kong. I think Cranky is really ingenious. The notion that it's the original arcade Donkey Kong turned into a bitter old man. It's just, that's the kind of thing that you would expect a little bit more time to have passed before you pull that card.
Right. Cranky's like 38 in Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade any of that. Don't get me wrong, but in retrospect, it's very odd. And it kind of did sort of create this generational tug of war between the different eras of Donkey Kong that Bananza has finally resolved. But yeah, it really did just open it up post-Rare to this constant argument about what Donkey Kong actually was as a series. Yeah. EAD reimagined what they thought 2D Donkey Kong could be with Jungle Beat. And, I mean, that's a good actual point about what you were saying. Like, how would we have reacted if after the buyout, like, Jungle Beat opened up, like, dismissing the country era, but that mistranslated interview with Koizumi, like, where we thought
that was exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, we thought they were saying that the Donkey Kong Country cast was no longer fresh enough for the youth of the mid-aughts, and they weren't saying that, but we reacted exactly like you just said we would have, Dustin. And it hurts. Getting old sucks.
Oh, yeah. It's maybe my least favorite thing.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, I have to say. That's why I really just hate the human body and all of its imperfections, all the pissing and the shitting and the eating we have to do, and the way your contact lens gets stuck underneath your eyelid, creating a lot of agony and physical discomfort while you're trying to acknowledge the 45th anniversary of this arcade game that you owe your career to.
When people look back at this episode and they talk about it, they're gonna call it the contact lens episode.
Nobody's gonna look back on this episode, Dustin.
That's true.
This is also
what was
ephemeral.
I thinking?
This is just dust in the wind. Dustin in the wind.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah,
that's part me.
So yeah, like. The buyout era especially, we had Jungle Beat, we had the experimental titles like Donkey Konga and the King of Swing duology. And this isn't me speaking to the quality of any of these, I'm just saying, like, nobody knew what Donkey Kong was after Rare.
It was a very weird time.
I mean, Rare was still hanging around doing Donkey Kong games for the handhelds.
That just muddied the waters even more.
And then we had the arcade revivals in Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which felt the most removed from everything, given that it just completely eschewed Donkey Kong Country iconography. And, I mean, it had some, like, arcade era stuff in there, but it was really just Mario and his added baggage from the Mushroom Kingdom. And here was Donkey Kong.
Here he is.
Here was Donkey Kong. And then, yeah, like, and then that kind of all calmed down a little bit, starting with the retro era, with, you know, Donkey Kong Country Returns era, 2010. But even then, it felt like, to my point earlier, Donkey Kong was just that game initially. Like, for 3+ years, Donkey Kong was just Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yeah.
And
that's what this whole brand has to be built around now.
Yeah. And so it took a long time to kind of bring stuff back in, and it was just a long march to Bananza. Like, oh, Dixie Kong is back. Ooh, Funky Kong is back. Ooh, King K. Rool is in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And then finally we got to Bananza, and we're like, everything is potentially back now, including...
Everything gets to be back on the table.
Including the arcade era. Everything is in perfect balance. Finally. Because... what I wanted, which is what I had been saying. How many times on the Kongversation, since the Kongversation started, have I said, I just want everything to potentially be allowed to be on the table again? Yeah,
like, I won't lie, I do prefer I consider myself more into the country games than the arcade games, but the best outcome is just having it all be together. Like, you can just have it all be there.
And of course, I've mellowed on a lot of this since being a angsty little child co-founding DK Vine back in 1999. But, you know, I even look at the arcade era with a lot of fondness. Like, let's be honest, those aren't my games, and I'm never going to just pick them up for fun, for the sheer thrill of it. Like, I played the NES versions in DK Challenge, and earlier today, I jumped into the actual arcade Donkey Kong, which you can purchase in the eShop on your Switch or Switch 2. And I played a little bit of that, and I was like, yeah, well, that's 25M. Okay, good. Paid my respects.
Hyle, I'm wearing my DK Arcade shirt today for the occasion. It's kind of an ugly shirt, though. The colors are very dulled.
Describe it to me. What does it actually entail?
So it's just a shirt of 25M. Donkey Kong is throwing a barrel, and Mario, or Jumpman, whichever you prefer, is kind of in the middle, just kind of jumping up. The colors are ugly, though. It's not like the red and bright neon blue. The girders are like a deep purpley.
Hey,
I don't love it.
Smoke on the water. High five.
Hey, high five.
Godzilla. They did a song about Godzilla. Perfect Strangers. They did that song too. Not the theme song
Anybody?
to the sitcom Perfect Strangers. They did a song called Perfect Strangers that wasn't about Balky. But I'm old. I'm old making Perfect Strangers jokes. Nobody knows who Balky is in 2026.
No, that was the whole point of bringing this shirt up, so you could go into this.
So you go on my Bronson Pinchot rant. Hope you're listening, Bronson. This is for you, buddy.
Yeah, move over, Donkey Kong.
Anyway, sorry. I was just going to go on a Perfect Strangers tangent. There's an episode of Perfect Strangers where they move into a new house and it's haunted, and they do battle with the ghost in the attic.
Was the ghost a perfect stranger?
The ghost, they didn't know who the ghost was, but the ghost actually materialized. The show got really weird, and it also spun off Family Matters. I mean,
I was gonna say, didn't the exact same thing happen to Family Matters? It just gets weirder over time.
Yeah, Family Matters also got really weird. They time traveled back to pirate time. So you see, it all connects.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where Sea of Thieves came from.
Josh, the Geek Critique, says, is Perfect Strangers that spooky Netflix show? I think Stranger Things is the joke.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, of course.
My favorite Jeff bit recently, and I don't think anybody really picks up on it, is whenever Jeff talks about the cast from Stranger Things, he calls them the Stranger Kids.
The Stranger Kids.
The Stranger Kids.
Jeff's got good bits. You should try to get him on this podcast sometime.
I think Jeff needs a little vacation. Jeff is a little burned out from his 80-hour-a-week work and then doing podcasts.
He has to talk about bullshit like this.
I think the bullshit in particular is just affecting Jeff quite a bit right now.
He just can't deal with it.
Yeah, they're talking about Jeff's bits right now in the chat. So I'll just let them have their private time talking about Jeff's bits.
They're top tier bits.
So, Dustin, when I said this episode was just going to end, I meant it, but not quite yet. I promised on social media when I announced that we were doing this that we would predict the next 45 years of Donkey Kong.
Okay. That's a long stretch of time.
That's pretty easy. I mean, let's just hope that there's another huge drought and that we only get 2 more games.
Then it's got to be some of these.
No, things are really good for Donkey Kong. And my first prediction is we will not have another significant drought.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna agree to that. Hopefully.
Unless something catastrophic happens, like Nintendo
Yeah.
files for bankruptcy or something.
Well, yeah, like if they want to make Donkey Kong a strong brand again, they can't just keep it in the freezer again. As much as we love Freezer.
Yes, as much as we love Freezer insulting us, as I'm sure she will do on the upcoming Yuka Replayly episode we're doing.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, you've got to get Donkey Kong out. You got to stretch Donkey Kong's legs. Donkey Kong doesn't even have a freezer. He was going to have a freezer, and then they took the ice key from him.
Yeah, which is, I guess what you're trying to say is, if they want to keep Donkey Kong in the public eye, I'm not saying you have to have a Donkey Kong game every year or anything. Not that I would complain, but I think you have to do more to keep him out there. Like when we got Returns and Tropical Freeze, those were awesome. But even between those, that was still a long stretch of time between those two games without Donkey Kong stuff. I would at least hope we get some spin-off games here and there.
Oh, yeah. So
I don't want to get greedy or nothing.
I will just say, since the start of 2025, we've had Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which coincided with the launch of the theme park, first in Japan, then in the US. Then we had, of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Then we had Dixie Kong being added to Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, because why the hell not? And then
might as well.
We also had the Emerald Rush stuff, I guess. The DLC was before that, even. I'm getting ahead of myself. Just the Emerald Rush stuff is still going, so it's kind of hard to put it in context with everything else. And
but
then,
that's another thing. That's another thing that keeps the series alive, is these constant monthly events.
And then we have the DK Challenge, which anybody who's a NSO member can just see that waiting for them on their Nintendo Switch Online menu. And it's doing a lot of work, advertising the series to people it wouldn't normally reach, as is the theme park. I've said before that there will statistically be so many new Donkey Kong fans created because they will go to the theme park and they will see the DK Wild hot dog, and then they will see Professor Chops, and then they'll think how delicious the characters are, all of them. And every time they think about Donkey Kong on the ride home, they will then be just their mouth watering, just the cup runneth over, the measuring cup that they're holding up to see how wet they get from everything. And
if this is how delicious Professor Chops is, just imagine how Donkey Kong tastes inside.
God, I really, really just want to savor Tiki Tong. Just on a hot summer day, could you imagine just having Tiki Tong vomit in your mouth?
I thought you were talking about his body, and I was going to say, good news, Hyle. If you have a Home Depot nearby, I got some good news for you.
No, you know how Tiki Tong vomits the banana juice?
Right, his banana insides.
Yeah. So people are going to be
wanted to baby bird you.
People are then just going to be craving Donkey Kong. It's going to be an insatiable hunger, and then they're going to have to play the video games.
Courtney says, you ever suck on a popsicle stick right after you finish the popsicle? That's what sucking on Tiki Tong is like. So that's not the worst. There's a little flavor left in there.
I hate the taste of the wood, honestly. I just get sad because I'm like, a tree died for this.
Yeah, that's what we mean whenever we complain about Tiki Tong.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this majestic tree had to die because an ice lolly needed to be held upright.
I judge my Donkey Kong characters by how likely I am to put my tongue on them.
So, Dustin, how we're going to wrap this episode up is we're going to make some bold predictions for the next 45 years of the franchise. Now, I wrote down a few that I feel pretty confident about, but then I opened it up to the DK Vine Inner Circle, our Patreon exclusive Discord for our $25 and up tier. It's called the Inner Circle because who can afford that? But I got some predictions. Some seem reasonable, some seem pretty outlandish, but we will read them all, and then when the Kongversation season 59 rolls around in 2071, we can sit back down, either in our physical bodies or as spirits or maybe brains in jars. However we're there, we can sit down and we can see how many of these came to pass.
Hopefully it'll be all of them.
I'm going to have to leave these in our show notes because
forever
we will need to like check them off after each one comes true.
This is a change to the status quo, this episode.
This is, yeah. Well, I am going to actually hold to this, and over the next 45 years, I am going to be checking in with this every so often.
I love it. That's my favorite thing about this podcast now.
I can't quit. Whenever I start something, I cannot quit. That's hence why DK Vine had to become my career. All right. Let's start with some of mine. All right.
Okay.
All right. So by 2071, I predict Stanley the Bugman will return.
All right, that's already extremely outlandish, Hyle. What are we doing here?
No, of course Stanley the Bugman will return. At some point in time, somebody's going to look back at Donkey Kong 3, and they're going to just say, why hasn't anybody done anything with this exterminator fellow?
He's sitting right here? Really? No one else wants this?
Pauline, for the longest time, fell into disuse, fell into obscurity, and now we're just lousy with Paulines running around.
She's all over the place.
We can't even keep track of which Pauline is which, so why not explore the Stanley lineage?
You know what? If they do it like as nicely as they did with Pauline and Bananza, I'd be down for it.
Or hear me out.
Oh.
Stanley comes back and he's a real piece of shit.
He sucks so bad. He steps on bugs.
He like uses the bug spray that is cancerous and like kills crops, and I don't know.
He shoves it up Cranky's ass. He says, just like old times, huh, old man?
Yeah. I think maybe we learn that Stanley killed Wrinkly.
There's a reason he's never come back.
That's not a full prediction. My prediction is just Stanley the Bugman will return. But if I had to bring him back, I would reveal that his bug spray gave Wrinkly the cancer that eventually killed her.
Right. He's just a real monster.
Yeah. Fucking sucks. GameBest.computer to read my favorite article ever written for DK Vine, the alternate history where Stanley the Bugman became Nintendo's biggest mascot.
I remember that one. Hyle, do you know what my favorite is?
What's that?
My favorite's Donkey Kong versus Mr. T. To this day, the image of Mr. T throwing Donkey Kong, and it's just the stock render of Donkey Kong flying through the air, might be the funniest thing that's ever come out of DK Vine, I think.
Josh said, Hyle said computer and set off my Alexa. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's great. We love when that happens.
That's why you don't want to live in a smart house. All right.
Like the movie Smart House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I want to live in a tree house like my hero, Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's where all the cool people live.
Did the Stranger Kids use a tree house in Stranger Things? No, they probably were in the basement, right? They were in the basement.
Yeah, that's 80. They didn't have tree houses in the 80s.
I thought they had tree houses in the 80s. Didn't the Goonies have a tree house?
No. No, maybe they did.
All right. Here's my next prediction. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Mario versus Donkey Kong will return as a series, but post Bananza, they'll actually finally pit the two series against each other properly, with Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and Dixie Kong fighting Mario, Luigi, and Peach, Rambi, Goring, Yoshi, all that good stuff.
Get that Yoshi juice everywhere.
Just does he bleed green?
I think he's like one of those, like a Stretch Armstrong, where if you puncture him, all the liquid will just come out.
Like a corn syrup mixture, but it's a secret proprietary blend that they don't want to reveal. Because then anybody can make a Stretch Armstrong.
Anyone could make a Yoshi.
Yeah. I talked a little bit about this on the recent Sea of Thieves stream. Do you remember when they brought Stretch Armstrong back in the 90s, but they tried to give him a whole expanded universe of Stretch characters?
I was there for that one.
You were there?
I was yeah.
They had his dog Fetch Armstrong, and then they introduced these extraterrestrials. There was Vac-Man, this evil alien warlord who, instead of corn syrup, he had like this puffed rice inside of him and used a vacuum to suck the air out of him, and then he would just keep his whatever shape you put him in.
I remember that. I haven't thought about that in decades.
And then they were like, we can't just say all members of this extraterrestrial race are evil, so we have to introduce heroic variants. So they introduced the Vac Pack.
This is going to make a great spinoff.
I love shared universes. I don't care whether it's Donkey Kong. I don't care if it's Perfect Strangers. I don't care if it's Stretch fucking Armstrong. I'm always on board with a shared universe.
It is kind of the same thing. It's like, well, let's take this old property and, expand on it a little more. Make
unfortunately,
a world.
I don't think Stretch Armstrong has really reconciled its history. Because I think like the vintage toy collectors have no respect for the 90s expanded universe of Stretch Armstrong.
Right. Well, Stretch Armstrong died from COVID back in 2021, so...
He was like, I refuse to be vaxxed because I have no circulatory system for the vaccine to work on me.
Yeah, it actually was okay for, like, he had a valid reason to not want it, but it was his undoing.
I'm just a proprietary blend of corn syrup inside of me. I don't actually know how I even have COVID, but it's killing me.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah. At least until Stretch Armstrong gets its own Bananza type revival that just really brings every era of the franchise back.
That's all he needs.
All right. My next prediction. This is a real... this is more me being hopeful than anything. I'm putting my integrity on the line, but I figure I have 45 years, so who cares? Who cares? The Kongs and Banjo and Kazooie will share a game together once more. And I'm not just talking about Smash Brothers. I'm saying...
I was going to say Smash Brothers.
I'm saying they will be together in either a racing game or in an adventure game. Maybe co-build together in the future.
Basically, you mean just a game that is not... The purpose is to be a big crossover of everything.
No, I'm just saying it's Donkey Kong and it's Banjo and Kazooie, the two franchises in one game.
I wonder how likely that is to happen. Probably not.
I have 45 years for it to come true.
That's true.
All I have to do is manipulate events to get to that point before 2071.
It'll be 37 years from now, and people will be like, Hyle, where is it? And you'll be like, I believe I said 45 years.
I don't know if this is so much predictions at this point. It's just a wish board. Like The Secret, I'm trying to just project what I want to happen. You
gotta put it out there.
Gotta put it out in the universe. I mean, I don't necessarily believe in that, but better safe than sorry.
It's not the most impossible thing that could happen.
No. We've already crossed some pretty impossible things off our list that we never thought would happen. So what's a little bit more? Let's get a little weird with it. Here's my last prediction. And then we're going to move to the predictions of the inner circle. Greg Mayles will creatively contribute to Donkey Kong in some capacity at least one more time.
I wonder.
I'm just saying, he's a great creative mind. You don't just leave a mind like that on the shelf, even if he says he's retired.
Yeah, he's lying.
Break out the Post-it note cube and get to work, Greg.
Get going.
All right. Those are my predictions. We'll see by 2071 if they come true.
I hope so. I'd be down for most of those.
In the live stream, Just Andre says, Banjo facing the prospect of eternal damnation would be enough to make Satan feel so guilty that he changes his ways. I feel like I'm missing the context of that remark.
So I've been eyeballing the chat here and there. They're talking about...
Don't rub it in, Dust. I've been eyeballing. I've been using my perfect, unabrased eyes to look at the chat.
Yikes. Too soon?
Think before you speak, Dustin.
You're right. But they were talking about Banjo and Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong meeting up together in heaven when they're dead, deceased corpses. And then I missed who it was, but someone said Kazooie would go to hell. And then someone, I believe Courtney, said Banjo would join her just to not be separated.
Because their souls are attached via the backpack.
Yeah, exactly. They spent too long together, and now this is their fate.
Banjo actually gets into heaven, but he just gets pulled into the fiery maw, and he's
whoa!
No, actually, I think Kazooie, she's on a redemption arc. I don't want to get into spoilers for the Super Pocket Rare Edition, but there's something in a Super Pocket Rare Edition. Go back and listen to the episode that Jem and I did about it, but I think Kazooie is becoming a better red-crested Breagle.
Well, the thing about Kazooie is also, I mean, I'll have to listen to the episode. I haven't yet, but I will. But also, Kazooie's saved, maybe not the world, but at least Kazooie helped save Tootie and helped save the island. That's doing good deeds, even if she's a jerk.
I know, but is it doing good deeds, or is the intent behind good deeds?
Well, I don't know if being a jerk necessarily sends you to hell. Otherwise... we'd all be pretty...
I might even be talking about hell in this case. I might be talking about, like, reincarnation. Like, does Kazooie get to move closer to the divine state of being, whether that is the Banandium roots or the Lord of Games or some other aspect of the spiritual underpinning of the DKU? Or does she, like, have to repeat the cycle because she fucked up so bad?
Because of Kazooie's ways, Kazooie has to come back as a worm. She becomes like a grub you get in Sea of Thieves.
Oh, yeah, or a sand eel, or...
She's a stick bug.
She becomes one of the worms in Donkey Kong 64 that get eaten by the tomatoes.
Yeah, that would suck. Imagine like, okay, I'm here to start my new life. Oh, no, I'm one of these.
All right, so really quick, because I don't have any special insight into any of these. These are just from the inner circle, so we can comment on them, but I'm not going to try to ascribe what I think some of these comments mean. Right. Unless they're so vague that I have no choice. All right. So yeah. Speaking of Jem, speaking of Gibbon, she says, another spin-off series is spawned within the next 10 years. It gains a cult following and sees its third formal entry by the 90th anniversary. So,
hey, that's playing it safe.
I don't know if spin-off means something like a King of Swing or a Donkey Konga, or if it means something like a Banjo-Kazooie or a Conker.
Right, like a character getting their own spin-off series.
Because I'm such a hardcore Perfect Strangers and Stretch Armstrong fan, Dustin, I always use spin-off in the terms of you're taking a franchise and making a new franchise splintering off a character. Not so much,
right,
here's a game that's not part of the core mainline games, but it's still part of the series.
Here's Donkey Kong Football.
Right. Here's Donkey Kong Lacrosse. Here's Donkey Kong Cricket. Here's Donkey Kong Polo.
Donkey Kong Goes Grocery Shopping.
I would love that game because it would help me get over my anxiety of going grocery shopping.
Yeah, hey, you know what? If Donkey Kong can do it, so can you.
There were so many people in that grocery store the last time I went, Dustin, and I was just trying to get banana saltwater taffy, which saltwater taffy, by the way, can be vegan, and this one brand of saltwater taffy is vegan. You don't need to use butter in your saltwater taffy. And they had the bag of banana taffy, and I'm like, hell yeah, because banana taffy is pretty good. I didn't like the new Donkey Kong Banana Bunch candy because those are basically just banana runts, and the banana flavoring is too overpowering in that. But when you have the texture of saltwater taffy and banana flavoring, it's really close to a banana, and I love things that are banana, so I wanted to get that. But the shopping carts were just like, they kept turning the corner because this was on an end cap, and they kept running into me. And then I'm feeling like I'm in the way because I'm just trying to get this bag of saltwater taffy that's banana flavored. And then I feel like a real piece of shit, like Stanley the Bugman.
I want to get those new Donkey Kong candies. Like, back when runts were a little more of a regular presence, I thought the banana ones were the worst ones, but now I'm just like, it's been so long since I've had runts, I would slurp up all those banana runts.
You also just want to see if your tastes have changed, if they've matured since you were
maybe I would like them more.
A runts gobbling child, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a whole review, by the way, on the Donkey Kong Banana Bunch candy. It's on the website, dkvine.com, right now. Read it. Because it's a deep dive into the history of banana candies and why banana candies taste the way they taste. And then I review this banana candy.
Sounds great. I'm sorry, that sounded mean. I will actually listen to it.
I spent a long time trying to suss out the flavor of this banana candy. All right, moving on. Martrose predicts. Speaking of candy, see this segue? Candy will be a playable character.
Interesting. I've never once thought of Candy as a playable character, but that would be interesting.
Even in Barrel Blast, she wasn't a playable character.
Yeah, that's it. Like, the game that takes the most DK characters and makes them playable, Candy wasn't even playable there.
But, Bananza has given a lot of surprising love and attention to Candy Kong. So,
yeah, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible anymore, so long as it's based around Donkey Kong.
That's all it takes. Then you can do literally anything.
Cotbox says we will get a brand new mainstay Kong in a future 2D Donkey Kong game. Bonus points if their color theme will be purple. We've gotten new Kongs in Bananza, and they're pretty popular. So
they were really singing their praises earlier in the chat. We kind of didn't give them the time of day today, but they are, all three of them I love. Poppy Kong, Void Kong, Grumpy Kong. I love that not only is this a game that brings the Kremlings back, brings back K. Rool, we get brand new Kongs. I never would have guessed we'd get brand new Kongs. Yeah. I kind of thought it fell into the category, kind of like Sonic fell into for a while, where it was like everyone was complaining about how many bullshit friends Sonic has, which I think is a stupid complaint. But I feel like for a while, people were kind of doing the same with the Kongs. People were like, look at all these stupid Kongs. They keep inventing new Kongs. Stop with it. I thought maybe they took that to heart, but no, here we are with 3 brand new awesome Kongs. And I hope they stick around. I hope they are just permanent fixtures of the DK series now.
But yeah, it shows they're not adverse to creating new Kongs, and we'll always have a healthy balance, potentially, of the old and the new. So
remember when we thought we were going to get Redneck Kong?
God, those were the days. I no longer mourn Redneck Kong, though. Can I just say,
did you even mourn him to begin with?
Oh, for years.
Once we saw Void Kong in the Bananza trailer, that's when I felt like I could finally move on.
Yoshi of Earth says DK and K. Rool will inevitably team up to defeat a common greater foe.
I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it would be neat, but I feel like when you do that, you kind of miss out on what makes not always, but it's easy to miss out on what makes the villain who they are. Or maybe it's a better way to show off who they are. Hyle, I don't know if you've heard of the video game in the Crash Bandicoot franchise. It's called Crash Twinsanity. Mm-hmm. And it's about Crash and his villain, Dr. Cortex, teaming up. And that, I think, is the game that really made Dr. Cortex stocks rise up because it puts him in the spotlight. You get a lot more dialogue from him. He gets to be front and center with Crash for once. And I really do think that is where a lot of Dr. Cortex love comes from. Maybe it would be the same for K. Rool. Maybe putting him in a spot where he's there the entire game would do some good for him.
Well, maybe the game could be what AidenStar64 is predicting. Says Wizpig will come back. And not just in a port of Diddy Kong Racing.
So are you thinking like Wizpig comes back and then Donkey Kong and K. Rool have to team up and say, obviously Wizpig is a much bigger threat than I am. He is the much bigger, badder villain. Like, we just can't stop this guy. So Donkey Kong, we have to team up here.
I mean, K. Rool has all of Crunch's intel on what Wizpig was up to, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He knows all his little Wizpig tricks.
Yeah, turning chickens into frogs and whatnot. Terrifying.
He won't be turning anyone into frogs anymore.
Josh Wallen from Off of the Geek Critique says...
I know that guy.
On the topic of Diddy Kong Racing, Diddy Kong Racing will get a sequel, fulfilling the prophecy of Kongversation Episode 1. Hashtag I still believe in Kevin Callahan.
Wow. I mean, I want it.
I do think we will get a Diddy Kong Racing sequel from Nintendo eventually. I do.
It seems like the kind of thing that just would happen. Like, even if it's takes on a completely different form, which was the rumor for a while.
Yeah.
Even if it's like just Diddy Kong Racing in name only and Diddy Kong only, I think it could happen. I think it's a popular enough name that I could see them saying, yeah, let's do a new one. It'll probably sell a couple.
Yeah, they still have the URL, diddykongracing.com. So, I mean...
Must be for a reason.
Hanging on to it. And look, maybe Bananza is a little preview of what's to come with the Ramby Rumble.
I would love that if they tighten up Ramby's controls.
I mean, it won't be probably the physics of Bananza is the thing, right? So, okay.
When it can be a game they can actually, build up and give it their full attention to.
So, on the topic of side games or other games beyond just platformers, Brewkey says Donkey Konga will return as a mode within a mainline title, potentially as DLC.
That's interesting. You know what? I feel like if it was just like a side mode you could easily ignore, I'd have no problems with Donkey Konga.
Maybe I'll have more to say on that later. Grunt, of course, steers the topic of conversation back to K. Rool and says K. Rool starts using disguises again. Clump and Crusher return. Donkey Kong Country gets a new game with playable Swanky Kong, and Pauline gets into a political scandal.
Playable Swanky Kong might be the wildest swing I've seen.
Yeah, even I wasn't that bold.
I would love to see it, though.
I still think Swanky's Pizza Buffet.
That's money on the table.
It's just, I mean, Nintendo, I know you don't like to use other ideas. You can have that for free. We're not going to sue you.
Yeah, you can just have it. We would never try to stir up trouble for that. We just want to see it exist.
Skips, on the topic of K. Rool, says K. Rool appears in more spin-offs. I think Skips really wants K. Rool in Mario Kart World. That's what Skips is getting at.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do.
I want to see him in a Donkey Kong racing game. I'm like, yes, I want more stuff in Mario Kart World, but I really want a Donkey Kong racing game or a Diddy Kong racing game.
Right. I mean, I would gladly take a Donkey Kong racing game, but if we never get that, I'll take the next best thing and put K. Rool in Mario Kart World.
Well, maybe we could get Kitty, because Emily says Kitty will eventually appear again and cause discussions about weird timeline shenanigans since Tiny grew and he didn't.
He has a pituitary disorder.
Yeah, that's true.
It's that easy to headcanon.
It's so easy. He got into Cranky's potions and he stunted his growth.
You really can say whatever bullshit you want, whatever
It's
you
so
want.
great. Now you know the trick. You know how I do this, Dustin. I just say bullshit, and I believe it. It's so hard that other people believe in it.
Yeah, you just make up whatever shit you want. And
This
someone
is
will say,
all-
yeah, I guess that could make sense.
This is all made up stuff for babies.
Yeah.
Hibby has some,
Quite a few.
quite a few, yeah. K. Rool and the Kremlings will appear in the next 2D DK game. I think
Yeah,
that's a safe bet.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think at this point that seems likely, but you never know until you see it, you know?
Multiple animal buddies will finally be playable again after a long absence. I predict Engard, Espresso, and Ellie will be back.
I do think, like, if I had my way, if I was the one in charge of the next 2D Donkey Kong game, I would go all in on Animal Buddies. Like, I would make that the theme, the big thing.
Donkey Kong Country Menagerie. Or a better name.
Yeah, or something better.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country Wild Safari Kingdom.
Yeah, there we go. Donkey Kong Stampede.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a racing game because Saberman Stampede was what Donkey Kong Racing became. All right. Another Donkey Konga prediction here from Hibby. Donkey Konga will get a new entry with a focus on DK and Nintendo music. The game will be based around Bananza's aesthetic.
Okay.
I mean, it would be nice to get a Donkey Konga game that actually had Donkey Kong music in it. That would be a plus in my book.
I'd be totally down for it if we got, like, brand new remixes of them. Like, I think about that Mario Donkey Kong remix we got for the Mario Emerald events. That's cool. I would love to hear just, like, brand new takes on these songs.
But you know what? You can include ditties just for kicks.
Yeah, you know what? We'll let them have that one.
Go bingo, go bingo.
It'll be the theme to Donkey Kong. That's what they'll play in the Nintendo Direct when they announce the new game.
To justify it, they're going to introduce Bingo Kong.
They say, yep, that's him. That's who that song was named after.
And then finally, Kid Pauline will return and is not a one and done like Cappy was in Odyssey. Yeah, I
would have to think so. I think Pauline's done more to endear herself to people than Cappy ever did. And I love Cappy. Yeah, I want to see Cappy come back. But
it's because Mario's one-off sidekicks are like contraptions and hats turned to life. Pauline's a
character.
Pauline is a 13-year-old human child, so she has a little bit more agency with the player. Like, she's done more to really, I think, endear herself to the fandom. And
she's a bigger part of the story.
Yeah.
More of a personality.
She's kind of an honorary Kong at this point, and I do think and maintain that she is a way for the Donkey Kong series to lay a claim to the Pauline heritage.
For sure. I totally agree. She's too lovable to just leave out. I'm not saying I want her to be on Donkey Kong's back for every game in the series. I'd like Donkey Kong to team up with, Diddy Kong again, maybe.
Yeah.
But I do think she should stick around.
I think she will probably recede a little bit in the background while they do reaffirm Donkey and Diddy and Dixie and stuff like that, but I do think she will stick around. She'll never be gone for too long.
For sure.
Levi Church, the one kick man, says K. Rool gets a cowboy outfit.
It's about time.
I then added to that and I said he can wear clapchaps.
Well, they have to do it now.
Can you imagine leather chaps, but they have claptraps sewn into them, or they're made out of claptraps that are still alive and they're just chomping?
Are they assless?
The claptraps are where the ass is.
Okay, I can deal with that.
Just Andre says, despite already having 3 separate explanations for what's up with the bananas, that they're from space, jungle climber, that they're extra-dimensional returns, and that they're echoes of God, and God is a coil of bananas, Bananza. We'll continue to get another one, or more completely unrelated explanations as the series carries on. Well, I don't see a problem with that, because it's not mutually exclusive. There can be extra-dimensional bananas. Bananas could be at the heart of all creation. And there could be bananas in space, too. It's fine.
Yeah, bananas can come from anywhere.
I think maybe the bananium root might be at the heart of all bananas, but there's other bananium roots in other planets.
Right, yeah. I think that's fair. Bananas can be on them in space. They can be wherever you want.
But considering we, have banana birds, banana fairies, banana sprites, banana extraterrestrials from the planet Plantain, and now some sort of like divine banana entity, I'm sure we will get more banana characters in the future.
Hyle, can I throw out a prediction?
Yes.
Within the next 45 years, banana birds will return.
I mean, the fossils came back in Bananza.
Yeah, but I mean actual
Sure.
banana birds.
Yeah, sure.
They'll be living and looking around with their disgusting eyes.
I thought you were going to say they'll be living, laughing, and loving.
They'll be living, laughing, and loving, as we all do.
Well, speaking of life, Mitchell Wolfe comes with the bleakest prediction of them all.
I know that guy.
Mitchell Wolfe says Donkey Kong will canonically die in the next 45 years, and it's permanent.
Ooh.
So, you know what, Dustin?
What?
This was an idea I actually daydreamed about when I was a kid, and I was really getting into the Donkey Kong series, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if Donkey Kong died? And we saw, like, how the characters dealt with that grief.
That would be great, yeah.
I think because Donkey Kong Country 2 had him kidnapped, and so I was like, well, we don't need him, clearly. He's expendable.
Kill him off.
He's disposable. And could you imagine how much the characters would cry? I want to play that game. And I think, I think it's because I got into comic books right around the time of the death of Superman's story. And then that was like immediately followed with like Batman getting his back broken and like Hal Jordan Green Lantern going insane. And so I just loved big status quo disrupting events that like permanently changed the characters, or what I thought would permanently change the characters. And so I was like, damn, it's really cool when beloved characters get trashed.
I love when they die and never come back.
So here's hoping.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. No, I love stuff like that in fictional stories. The one that comes to mind for me is the Monkey Island series. Spoilers for one of the Monkey Island games, but there is a game where Guybrush Threepwood dies, but then the story just takes place. He is in the pirate underworld for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fine.
And stuff like that would be cool. You could have a whole hell world.
Yeah. Kazooie and Banjo will be there.
Yeah, they'll say hello.
Maybe that's how Banjo and Kazooie and Donkey Kong reunite. It's when Donkey Kong finally dies. So here's to Donkey Kong dying within the next 45 years, Dustin. Let's make a toast.
Here we go. Clink.
Here's to 45 years more, but no more than 45 years. It ends on the 90th anniversary. Donkey Kong dies, but the good news for generations after that, as we have learned, there's always a spare Donkey Kong to go around. And a Pauline, too, I guess. We're not going to get into that, though, because I don't want people to argue about it.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.